Good morning, traders. It is Thursday, January 23rd. We are an hour and a half into trading. I wanted to do this video a little bit later because we've got some weakness on the market. Wanted to be able to find some really good stocks that I like on the long side and the short side. I think we're going to have a little bit of selling throughout the course of the day. I am long the SPY January 31st, 330 puts right here. The 330 puts, expiration January 31st, and I'm long these at 188, $1.88. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to put up the SPY chart right here. Yesterday, market gapped higher. We've seen that a lot, and it instantly gave up those gains. That was a pretty bearish sign, but we made one more push higher. It was a nice push higher, and then instantly gave those gains back as well. We had two tails above candle, long red body here, close on the low. That was very bearish, followed by another long red candle closing on its low, testing that opening price. This is fairly bearish action compared to what we've seen recently, and then we had follow through selling. Another long red candle closing on its low, tiny little bounce, and a retest. When I saw this pattern right here, I knew that the market had pretty substantial selling pressure. So we had two tails under body, a nice 1OP cross here, good little opportunity to get long. But at this stage right here, I told everyone in the chat room, this is a bearish trend day. So any bounce should be faded. Be careful in here. So we rally up and then close on the low. This is bearish price action. We can see it on the daily chart. You'll see that the market reversed right there with a tail above body closing on its low. That's an inverted hammer. Today we're getting follow through selling. There's a little bit of nervousness right now that the coronavirus might actually impact global economic activity. The bigger picture is that bullish speculation is off the charts. Doesn't matter what the cause of the sell-off is, as long as we start to see some selling and some momentum, bullish speculators are out over their skis right now, and they will start hitting the exits, and that's what will actually force the market to go even lower as they exit these positions. Momentum builds, sell programs start to kick in, and it starts to feed on itself. I'm not looking for a market meltdown. I'm just looking for a natural pullback. Given the price action that we had yesterday, we are in for more two-sided trading. So I believe that we're going to start seeing some nice opportunities on the long side intraday, some nice opportunities on the sell side. To this point, every drop like this has been a V bottom, and we bounce right back, indicating a strong market bid. Now we get into more of a bottoming process, and that tells me that the trading is pretty balanced, and we're starting to see some natural selling. We're starting to see some profit taking. We get a little bit of news this morning, and you can see how the market gapped down, and this is a long red bar closing near its low. That's a pretty bearish start to the day, and it took out four lows, tested the low from January 16th a week ago. So we get some long tails under body here. We had a nice 1OP cross, so that was bullish. And now we're trying to get into this gap right here. Long tail above body, tail above body. So we're probably going to make an attempt to try and get through. I'm expecting to see a lower high here, and you can see how the 1OP indicator is telling us that this is a good place to be short. So we have a tail under body right here. Need to watch that a little bit. I'm recording right now, and I've got more than a week left in these options, and I think that we're going to at least test the low today, so I'm willing to hang with the position and let it move around while I'm recording. So let's see what happens. I think, if anything, we'll see a lower high in here, and then we'll get a nice leg down to the low of the day, and then we'll see what happens after that. It's really going to be dependent on how anxious bullish speculators are to exit their position. Now, I will tell you that as we start to see some selling, it's going to take us pretty substantial amount of selling to get through this low here, and it'll take considerable selling to get bullish speculators out of the market. I think we've got to test this 327.50 level right in here to start rattling some people. All of these gains will have been vaporized then, and we've got a chance to come down to the 325 level. Will it happen instantly? Will it happen today? Probably not. I don't think the news is that damaging, but I do think that when everyone is trained to come in and buy dips, buy dips, buy dips, and they come in and they buy a dip, they can get the doors slammed in their face very easily and very quickly, just like we're seeing right now. Because the buy dip in here, oh, here we go, buy dip. Guess what? I got caught in this yesterday because that's what you try to do, is you try and trade those patterns. Once I saw this selling, I was out of the trade, and I knew that the character of the market had changed. So I didn't mind losing money on this trade because it revealed a lot of information that is making me money right now. Let's take a quick look, see how those options are performing. And you can see they're currently 205 by 206, making decent little money here. I like it. So here are the searches that we're going to be looking at, and you can notice the S&P 500 in the background here while I look at some of the stocks. I like Caterpillar. This is a nice short. You can see the heavy selling yesterday, steady downtrend. We've got relative weakness. Go to that daily chart, and you can see how the stock had that long red candle today down right on the open, and it's challenging this horizontal support level. If that horizontal support level fails, we're going to see accelerated selling pressure on the stock. So I'm going to put up the major moving averages. You can see that 100-day moving average stands in the way. That's certainly where I would be looking to take profits on this trade. But I like Caterpillar for a short in here. Going to put up a couple of other shorts that I found this morning. JPM I've been short. Actually, you might have seen my swing trading video that I publish every week. I post it to YouTube about 3 days after I release it to my members. For the first time this year, I had a bearish call spread, and it was on JPM. Well, why? I mean, the stock did good after earnings. They liked it. Yes, it tested that high, and it closed near the low of that day. That was an inverted hammer, and it told me that that resistance level was firmly in place. I've been watching the stock. Now we're through this horizontal support level. I like it on the short side today. I am short JPM. I think that's another nice short for you. You can see how the stock has been drifting lower and lower. Really hasn't bounced much with the market. Let's put that SPY overlay up. This is a nice market bounce. So the gray line is the S&P 500 or the SPY. Big bounce. What does the stock do? Nada. So that is relative weakness, and it tells me that there's more downside to come on this stock. So JPM looks like a nice short. A lot of banks have been struggling after posting earnings, so I think we're on the right side of this one. I like it. Another stock that looks pretty weak, ABBV. Saw that this morning. Oh yeah. Again, market bounce, stock flat, stock starting to come down and challenge the low of the day. This also looks like it'll be a good short. Let's take a look at that daily chart, and we'll take off that SPY overlay. Go in. We can see, yes, that stock is breaking through horizontal support. We have a long red candle near its low today. Also, excellent looking short. YY also was on the list. You can see how it tried to get through the 200-day moving average. It hit this resistance level right here. Now we have a long red candle closing on its low, follow through today below the 200-day moving average. Yep, this also looks like an excellent shorting candidate. So what about the long side? What looks good on the long side? Well, BA looks really good to me on the long side, and I'll show you why. We've got heavy selling, long red candles closing on their low, and then we get this drop yesterday, but the stock rallies all day, and this is a bullish hammer on a day when the market closed on its low. I can look at this chart and go, yep, I know what happened yesterday in the market. That is relative strength. This morning we have a big market gap down. What does the stock do? Rallies. So let's go into that 15-minute chart and see if we can pick up that relative strength that I'm speaking of. And there you can see. So stock yesterday, early in the day, very weak, following the market. Okay, market rallies, stock rallies with it. Now we get this selling late in the day on the market. What does the stock do? Grind, 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 grind higher. Oh, this is relative strength right here. That tells me that this is a major support level and that the stock is ready to bounce. Sure enough, this morning, market, huge drop. Right here on the open, stock moving higher. Even right now, look at that selling in the SPY. What's the stock doing? It's staying flat. That is relative strength. This stock wants to go. When the market puts in its low, when the market finds support, you want to buy this stock. Well, how do I use that information? How will I know? How do I keep an eye on it? You click the alert button, you double click on that bar right there, you get a horizontal line. Now I'm going to know via pop-up alert when that stock takes out the high of the day. So, yes, I definitely like Boeing. Let's take a look at another one. Netflix. Netflix, really, really strong price action. Look at it's compressing. What's the market doing? Market is selling off. This stock wants to go higher. It reported earnings yesterday. The initial reaction was not that great. You can see earnings after the close. That's the A there. Stock sells off after the news, comes down to the 200-day moving average, bounce. This is probably a nice bullish put spread keying off of that 200-day moving average. So I like Netflix today. I think it sets up really, really well for a day trading opportunity. Well, how do I find these stocks? We've got heavy selling is an excellent search to use. There's Caterpillar right up there. You can see some other candidates in here. You flip through these charts. You can also add a filter like which stocks have a sell rating by our proprietary system on a daily basis. That narrows the list down considerably. Relative week 30, these stocks are weak relative to the market. Real easy to spot. But I'm going to flip gears a little bit because when I have a market sell-off like this, and you can see that the market is continuing to drop right now, when I have a market sell-off like this, it's really good to go in and look for the stocks that are strong relative to the market because these are going to be leading the charge higher. Right now I've only got one stock. There we go. Now we've got more stocks. And instead of looking at ones that are down today, I really like looking at stocks that have green. Green, green. So let's take a look at that iRobot. I haven't looked at that yet today and see what it's doing. So it's bouncing off of that 100-day moving average. It's got good relative strength today. Put up that 5-minute chart. Oh yeah, look at that. That is some nice price action. This is another stock that wants to go. It wants to move higher. So that's how easy it is to find these. You get 2 or 3 of these stocks, you're zeroed in. That's all you have to do. You have to watch that, keep an eye on the market, wait for that support to come in, wait for the 10P indicator to trough and cross. Get long those stocks that have that relative strength, write them up for 50 cents or $1, take your profits, move on to the next trade. So that's how we find them, that's how we play it. Let's go into a couple of bullish stocks here since we're in that. Look at that, right out of the gate, heavy buying. Netflix and Boeing, right at the top of the list. Can't be any easier to find. Intel had a fantastic day yesterday. It posts after the close today. If the stock posts a good number and it holds this breakout here at $61, I think there are going to be some excellent bullish put spreads that you can put on keying off of that $61 price level. Let's wait for the number though. We don't need to trade over the earnings announcement. So, heavy buying. Very easy to find these stocks. I'm going to go into bull run, see what we've got there. It's another great search. Now we're going to be getting into earnings season. So there are a couple of earnings searches that I want to make you aware of. Buy into earnings, excellent. But since stocks are so overextended right now, I'm having a hard time finding really good candidates into this buy into earnings. But these stocks rally into earnings 75% or more of the time over the last 12 quarters when they're inside of that 2-week window before announcing. Great search finding bullish put spreads into earnings announcements. But right now, with stocks near their all-time highs, I wouldn't suggest doing that. Better to trade after they report earnings. Then you can go in and trade with a lot of safety, knowing that these companies have already reported, the surprise element is gone, and look at the market tank. Yeah, baby, I'm going to be making some really nice money on those puts. So, you need to be very careful on the long side today. We're starting to see some selling pressure. So let's go in and take another look at some of those heavy selling stocks. Caterpillar, I'm short that right now. That stock looks like it wants to go lower. Procter & Gamble, they reported before the open this morning. That's the B right there. You can see long tail stock on its low right now. So you just knock through this list right here. I'm not going to do it right now because I wanted to limit the number of stocks. Let's go back and do our final market analysis, and I'll tell you how I feel the day is going to set up. So we're seeing some pretty heavy selling. We're going to test this low right here. If we get a bunch of tails under body and another low right here, and we bounce, not the first bounce. Remember this lesson right here? First bounce, no good. There's an old market adage. The second mouse gets the cheese. Think about it. So we want to see that bounce, second bounce, maybe even a third bounce. I need to see firm support before I buy, before I get long this market. Otherwise, I'm going to be more inclined to short it. I think that we test this low right here. I think you get a mini bounce, and that attracts some buyers off of that low, and then they get flushed out. And we see a move like this, where you get that little mini bounce, and then whoosh, another leg down. Whoosh, another leg down. So you're going to have to see what I call marginal lows, meaning that the next low is not that dramatic, and then we have a chance to start basing, and then perhaps later in the day we'll have an opportunity to catch a nice decent bounce into the close. But I'm not overly anxious to buy this market right now. We've got some selling pressure that we've seen yesterday. I think it's continuing today. We got some work to do before we can define the support level. So be very, very cautious on your longs. If you're long a lot of stock, which we are not, we're actually about 25-30% in our bullish put spreads right now. We have very, very minimal exposure. We're waiting for next week when earnings season cranks up. We're waiting for those stocks that pull back, establish support on fantastic numbers. Then we're going to come in and reestablish our bullish put spreads. I think we've got a chance to have a little market pullback right now. That's what the technicals are telling me. I think this 327.50 level is easy one for us to hit. The 325 level we should be able to hit at least intraday. And at those levels, then I would look to get a little bit more aggressive selling bullish put spreads. And those line up with these longer term upward sloping trend lines. Until then, I think you got to keep it light. Wait for those earnings announcements. Wait for those opportunities. Thanks so much for watching. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel because I never know when I'm going to be posting these videos, and if I see something I really like, I could post a video later today. Thank you. Trade well. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.